What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the all-new 2024 Chevy Equinox EV. So I've actually taken a look at the Equinox EV over on my tech channel, Mets Tech. I got a video up pretty early the second we got one of these, but I'd been waiting for a different model to actually put on this channel just so there was some variety. So this is the 2RS front wheel drive. If you're interested in the 2RS all-wheel drive, I've got that over on my tech channel. I'll have it linked down in the description and in the card above. I'm going to be covering every single trim of the Equinox EV here. So we've got a 3RS on the lot that I'm waiting to get through the detail process. Once that happens, I'll bring that to the channel as well. But I want to make sure you guys know every single thing about all these different trim levels so you have a better idea of which one to pick up for yourself, and definitely go test drive these because they're a whole lot of fun. Now, I can't really say like this is new, that's new, because like it's all new, because this is an entirely new EV for Chevy. I've been waiting on this one for a while. I was actually considering getting an Equinox EV when I traded in my Bolt EUV, but the timing just didn't work out and I ended up getting a Tesla Model 3, but I really like the Equinox EV, and from what I've driven so far, it's actually a lot of fun. But let's go ahead and just start up front and talk about everything that we've got going on this 2RS front wheel drive. So since this is the RS model, you're going to have some specific accents, some kind of more sporty accents, and you're going to of course have your red and black RS badging. Now, as far as the front of the vehicle goes, it's very low profile, slim, sleek, just like we've seen on all of Chevy's modern SUVs. You've got the really low profile LED daytime running lights and turn signals, and this one actually has the light bar that runs across the front. You can also get an illuminated Chevy bow tie, but you have to add that on as an option. This one does not have it, but it does have the blacked out bow ties to kind of fit in with that RS theme. You've got some carbon fiber here on the front grille, a little bit here around this little headlight area, and your high beams and your main beams are LED as well, and they're down here, tucked away, hidden really discreetly. You can almost hardly tell you've got headlights on this thing, but you do. Got a little passive air vent back there. Again, this kind of faux grille in the front here with this diamond pattern on it. Front splitter with some really nice ground effects that make it look nice and mean. Got a radar sensor down here, some more air pass through there to help cool the battery off. You do have a front-facing camera that's going to work with your HD surround vision. We'll take a look at that inside. Now, one thing that you don't have on the Equinox EV that you have on a lot of other EVs is a frunk. So all of your different components are here in the front. You've got all your different fluids that can be easily accessed. Wiper fluid there. You can access your 12-volt battery as well, and all your electrical components are right here for your motor in the front. Of course, since this is the front-wheel drive, you just have that single motor in the front, no rear motor on this one, but everything is just very nice and accessible. Now, that may be a positive, maybe a negative, I don't know, but on the Blazer, they put a big plastic cover over it, so you have to remove that to get access to this. They didn't do that here on the Equinox, nor did they give you a frunk, which is kind of a bummer because I use my frunk on my Tesla a lot, but I'd rather them not give you a frunk if they can't give you a substantial one. So maybe that's the issue here. Something like the Hyundai Ioniq 6 gives you a half a cubic foot frunk, and it sucks. I'd rather not have one than have a tiny one. That's what she. Now, as far as the performance specs on this one, this is powered by an 85 kilowatt hour raw battery pack. I don't think you get to take advantage of all of that, but like I said, you will get 319 miles of EPA estimated range on a full charge. And this is the single motor variant in the front, 213 horsepower, 236 pound-feet of torque. If you go up to the all-wheel drive, you're gonna get like 288 horsepower, and I think it goes into the 300s for the torque. Going from the front-wheel drive to the all-wheel drive will take your 0 to 60 down from about 7.7 seconds to under 6 seconds. So big difference there. And I actually haven't driven the front wheel drive very much, so I'm interested to see how it kind of feels since I do have some more experience with the all-wheel drive. All right, so moving on over to the side of the Equinox here, you've got a little bit of black cladding around the wheel wells here. The 2RS all-wheel drive that I took a look at over on my tech channel was all black, which I like the look of the all black cars. The issue is that you don't really get to see that nice contrast that you get here on like the front grille with the RS badging and the trim around the wheel wells and at the bottom. So I kind of like that there's a contrast here, so I picked this white model to take a look at, and I think it looks really, really good. All of the colors look awesome. There's a lot of blue ones that have black roofs, or blue ones with the blue roof, or red ones with the black roof. They all look awesome. So a lot of really cool color combos that you could do. Anyway, sorry, that's a little tangent. I really like the contrast here. You've got some 21-inch wheels here, absolutely massive wheels here on the Equinox, and I think that has a little bit of a negative effect. They look really, really nice. They have this 5-spoke kind of gloss black look to them, but I do feel like that's a a hindrance to the range. I think if they had a smaller wheel option, you'd get a lot better range out of this. You still get a very respectable 319 miles of range on the front wheel drive. That's gonna drop down to like 285 on the all-wheel drive model. Still, you get some really nice range, very competitive range, don't get me wrong at all. I just think you could squeeze even more range out of this Equinox if you just made a smaller wheel option. Unfortunately, you don't get one. But if we push right here, you can get access to the charging port, 11.5 onboard AC charging system, and you can get a max charging rate of 150 kilowatts with DC fast charging. Equinox EV badging here at the bottom with your little 3 blue line. I love that logo. And then on the sides here, you have these nice gloss black mirror caps. They're a nice contrast with this Summit white paint color that we've got going on. These are heated. They have blind spot monitoring built in. They have your HD surround vision camera up underneath, but they are manual folding mirrors. White roof here, so it is a body colored roof. You don't have the two-tone on this one, but you do get some black roof rails up top. As you probably notice here, you've got some self-presenting door handles here, so you can push on the keyless access pad. Those will fold in, and then as you approach the vehicle with the key fob in your pocket, they're gonna pop out. And one little feature that I think is pretty neat and I haven't seen on many other vehicles is you can actually click in on these and they'll go ahead and pop out, which feels really nice. Like, it feels tactile, it feels well built, and then you can obviously just open the door just like that. And then when you put your finger on this little pad, it'll go ahead and fold right in for you, keeping your vehicle nice and aerodynamic. Now moving here to the back of the Equinox EV. I pointed this out over on my tech channel when I was talking about the Equinox EV, but the back end to me just looks a whole lot like the Trailblazer and the new Trax, with just how it kind of pops out. It's a pretty substantial back end. It really kind of juts out. It's just got a lot of kind of attitude to it and a lot of angles and protrusions and all kinds of stuff. It's very interesting, and that I appreciate. You've got some LED taillights back here that run across here, and they've got these kind of like little integrated segments that look really nice in the dark. I'll give you a shot of that. Got a little body colored spoiler up top, nice big back windshield with a, you know, medium-sized wiper. That should take care of enough of it to keep stuff off. But then you kind of have this lip here, and it's almost flat. It kind of reminds me of like the Solterra a little bit in the design. If you guys have seen the Subaru Solterra at all, just a nice little lip there. Stuff shouldn't stay on it too much, but you never know. Got some Equinox badging back here, RS badging, pretty clean other than that, outside of the Chevy badge. Then down at the bottom, you have more of that kind of diamond faux grille look on the back, and some ultrasonic sensors as well. And a little carbon fiber lip at the bottom, and a nice aggressive diffuser, which looks really cool. This does have the auto sense liftgate, so if you walk out of range and then come back within range, you're carrying objects and stuff, it'll beep a couple times and open up for you, or you can push the button underneath the lip here. Got a rear camera here that works with your HD surround vision and also just acts as your rear view camera. And then once we open the lift gate here, you can get access to all of this cargo space. Super, super generous amount of cargo space back here. You get about 26 cubic feet of cargo space back here with the second row seats folded up. If you fold those down, you get about 57 cubic feet. You've got some underfloor storage as well. Nice deep area down here. You can put your charging cable back here if you want to. You've got some tools and things. You've got a pocket on this side for extra storage, room for a cargo shade. In this bag back here, you've got your dual level charging cable. This is the new Ultium dual level charging cable, so you can use this with 120 to spend your entire life charging, or you can get the 220, which will typically fully charge your battery in about, 7 to 8 to 9 hours, somewhere around that. At least that was my experience with the Bolt. Obviously that had a smaller battery pack, so maybe it'll take a little longer here, but you're usually not charging from zero. So 7 to 8 hours is pretty safe if you have the 240 volt outlet setup that you can use. And then if you want to drop your second row seats, you've got some little handles here. You just push those down like so, and then you get access to that 57 cubic feet of cargo space. So tons of functionality and capability back here. Well, let's go ahead and hop inside the cabin. All right, so hopping here into the interior of the Equinox EV. If you've sat in a modern Chevy vehicle, you've basically sat in the cabin of the Equinox EV, right? They've done this very nice job of standardizing the cabins across the board. Some people don't like that because it takes away some of the uniqueness of each vehicle. Some people like that because they can really pick and choose the size vehicle they want without losing out on some of the more advanced tech features. So Chevy's forced to kind of walk this fine line of giving people standard equipment, but also diversifying their vehicle lineup, which is tough. I don't envy them. The Equinox EV is a really nice looking interior. It's pretty minimal, but you've got some nice features here. Let's go ahead and start on the door panels. Some soft touch rubber material up top, and then you have this really nice kind of accent piece. It's a red accent here, and it kind of fades gradient style into this gray accent over here. And you've got your interior ambient lighting built into the sides of these panels, same as over on top of the glove box here. But then under that, you've got some textured leather feeling material, plastic material, and then basically everything from knees down across the entire cabin is hard black plastic. So it's just what you get at this price point. And with Chevy, unfortunately, but it's easy to take care of. And then that soft touch rubber material runs all across the dash, and then more of that gray accent above the glove box, like I said. You have this really cool vent design over here with this little kind of pivoting interior portion with some red accents, and then you can twist it to close it, twist it again to open it, and then pivot it all around and aim it wherever you want. Underneath that, you've got your electronic parking brake, your lane keep assist, auto vehicle hold button, trunk height button, and then your brightness control for your two massive displays here, which we'll talk about in just a second. But then you get this massive Chevy steering wheel. This cracks me up. All these steering wheels are so big. They remind me a lot of those like steering wheels on the playground as a little kid. They're just huge for no reason. This one is very big. If you like huge steering wheels, you're gonna love it. But you've got adaptive cruise control options on the left side, media controls, and your heated steering wheel button on the right side. Then you've got some kind of brushed gray accent trim, black Chevy bow tie, red accent stitching around the steering wheel, some more of that black accent and RS badging at the bottom of the steering wheel here. Behind the steering wheel, you've got your regen on demand button, and then you've got a combo stock for your lights and wipers, because your other stock is your shift stock. So you push for park, pull back for neutral, pull back and up for reverse, pull back and down for drive. Exactly the same thing that you've got on the Blazer EV and a lot of other Chevy vehicles, honestly. This is basically Chevy's new shift system, so most of the new Chevy vehicles have something like this, at least on the higher end. And then behind the steering wheel, you'll get one of two large displays. This is your 11-inch driver information display, again, powered by Google for both systems. And I like the design of it. It's a little bit cluttered in my opinion, so you can switch through different views. So if you want your driver assistance features on screen, you can see that. You get every ounce of vehicle information you could possibly need on this display. You can click through, you can get a cleaner design, you can get the full screen maps, like I said, so tons of customization on this screen. If we move over though, you get access to the 17.7-inch driver infotainment system powered by Google. So this is gonna have all your Google features built in: Google Play Store, Google Assistant, Google Maps, Google Podcasts, Google News, everything built into this system. One big thing you do not have is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, because that would be unsafe. You can only get it in the gas-powered Equinox, but not here. Don't even think about getting it on any of the electric vehicles, because that would be crazy and unsafe. Completely disregard the fact that you have a 17.7-inch screen right in front of your view here on the Equinox EV. If you were to have your phone connected to this, are you kidding me? That is wildly unsafe. Shout out to GM for always watching our backs, keeping us safe. Unless, of course, you're in the Silverado EV, and then it doesn't matter at all. But you've got your charging menu built in here. You've got your full 360-degree camera system that you can click on, click through your different views for front and rear. If you want to see the side view, overhead view, standard view, you can see all that. You've got on-screen climate controls as well as physical controls down below. So a little bit of everything for everyone. Ambient lighting, like I mentioned, full color, you can customize that and it will show on the door panels, and you can see that here. You've got different drive modes you can switch between, so normal, sport, snow and ice, and then a My mode, as well as your one-pedal driving button, Wi-Fi hotspot, Bluetooth built in. Anything you could possibly need to use except for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is wildly unsafe, is here on this screen. You've got some vents underneath the screen as well, with a little bit of kind of a gray gloss look here, which isn't bad. It's not as bad as this gloss black down at the bottom on these climate controls. Fortunately, you have very little gloss black plastic, which I really like, but you do have those physical climate controls, like I said. The dial on the left is for your temperature, the dial on the right is fan speed, and then all of your buttons in the center are going to help with defoggers, AC, heat, all that kind of stuff. Now underneath that, you've got a nice big pad for storage, little pocket here, some textured material on the side bolsters of this center console, and then you have what I can only describe as like a phone pocket, so you could kind of, put your phone in here and kind of lean it off to the side a little bit. You do have two USB-C charging ports in here, two cup holders here, and then I love that they didn't put gloss black plastic all around this area, but instead went with this kind of textured, shiny plastic instead, which is really nice. Now this center console is really cool. It's got a button and it actually flips this way, so the driver has easy access to this little tray that's removable and a nice deep pocket with an LED light in there. Now one of you guys did mention on my tech review that it's a little unfortunate because most of the time the driver is not fishing around inside of the center console, right? You maybe say to your passenger, hey, can you grab me the plug out of the center console for my phone or whatever. Usually the passenger is going to be doing that. But if the passenger tries to open this, it's going to block their view completely, and there's no way to open it from this side. So a little bit of a quirky design, but it is very driver-centric. You do have a standard glove box over here, auto-dimming rearview mirror up top, but very simple, not a whole lot going on there, and then some LED dome lights up top here. Black headliner. And then as far as the seating surfaces go, these are Chevy's EvoTech seating surface, so they're a synthetic leather and cloth combo seat. They've got some cloth bolsters, little cloth accent up top with some red piping, red and blue accent stitching on the sides as well. and they have some perforations down the center for better airflow. RS badging on them as well. The driver is an 8-way power adjustable with 4-way lumbar, and the passenger is a 6-way manually adjustable seat, but they are both heated. And then as far as the safety systems go, you've got enhanced automatic emergency braking, forward collision alert, front pedestrian and bicyclist braking, following distance indicator and telebeam auto high beam, safety alert seats, rear cross traffic braking, blind zone steering assist, reverse automatic braking, intersection automatic emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, side bicyclist alert, and HD surround vision. All right, so hopping here into the back seat again. Just beyond impressed with the back seat space here in the Equinox. I had this seat pretty far back. It could go back a little more, but even if it went back a little more, you still got like 8 inches of rear legroom, 7 inches of rear legroom, just so much space. You can tuck your feet up underneath. You've got good headroom because the roof slopes up here. It does feel a little bit cramped on your back with just how these seats kind of contour here in the middle. So a little bit restrictive there, but not terrible either. I just can't get over the leg room. The only downside really is that these seats are a little short and low to the ground, just a little bit, not all the way to your knees. So there's a little bit of that awkward gap there where you have to kind of put your knees really far back to be able to put your legs down. But again, tons of rear legroom back here. You can fold the center console down, get 2 more cup holders. You've got room for a middle seat passenger with a flat floor, which is great. So 3 kids can fit back here easily. 2 adults, gonna be super comfortable back here. You got rear vents, you got USB-C charging ports, you got a little pocket back here as well. Same little accents on the door panels. The materials drop a little bit in quality, but we expect that on something at this price point. And then some matte pockets on the back as well. Super comfortable back seat for sure. Very impressive. All right, let's take the Equinox EV here for a test drive. Now, again, I've driven the all-wheel drive version over on my tech channel. I'll have that linked in the description if you want a impression of the all-wheel drive driving experience, but I have not driven the front-wheel drive. So this will be interesting and different. And I really felt when I drove the all-wheel drive version that the horsepower and oomph that the vehicle had really matched the size and weight of the Equinox better than it did in my test drive of the Blazer EV. I'm interested to see if I feel the same way about this rear wheel drive or that if it feels underpowered. So let's go ahead and just give it a little. It definitely has like a different feel because it is front wheel drive, so those wheels just instantly start gripping. It feels very similar to the Bolt. Obviously this is a larger vehicle, a heavier vehicle than the Bolt, but the Bolt was front wheel drive also. Because it was in the front by your feet, you could really feel it when it was gripping. And the Bolt had a similar kind of takeoff than this. I think that's the best possible comparison that I could give. If you've driven a Bolt, it'll feel similar to this Equinox front wheel drive. Oh, pedal to the floor. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I think that the all-wheel drive is a lot more fun. It's fine. It's not gonna blow you away, but it's probably more oomph than most people have felt in a vehicle before. It just has this like tiny little delay. It doesn't have that kind of punch back, just a little bit of hesitation and then it goes. But again, it's gripping on the front wheels, the same wheels that you turn with, so you almost like slide a little bit when you really get going. So just be careful with that. That's pretty common with front-wheel drive vehicles. We were in normal mode there. I'm gonna switch it to sport and see if we do any better. I'm assuming it's just gonna be more sensitive. I don't know if, oh yeah, you feel that? I barely touch it and it just, oh, we can get some dB tests here. It's about 43 dB at idle. It doesn't feel a whole lot different in sport mode, to be honest with you guys. Less delay, for sure. It launches a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Nothing crazy, but let's go ahead and get a dB test at city speeds. About 63 dB, 65 dB on average. While we're cruising here, we can talk about a couple things that I like and a couple things that I don't like as much about the Equinox EV. The first thing that I really like about the Equinox EV is the look of it. I really think it's an attractive SUV. I think that overall the design that they went with, it pulls so much inspiration from all of the other Chevy combustion engine vehicles, all the Chevy electric vehicles, and it really is kind of this conglomeration of all the best things that Chevy has done so far. car. And I think that's what makes it so appealing to so many people. So I think they hit it out of the park with the design of the vehicle. I also think it's really fun to drive. Now again, the front wheel drive has noticeably less power. The all-wheel drive is a lot more fun to drive, but you can get any of these trim levels in either configuration, front wheel drive or all-wheel drive. And I think you're gonna have a lot to choose from on dealer lots. I think they're gonna have a lot of them. We have like 15 of them, which is crazy. We go from having one that I'm like clawing to get my hands on for the tech channel, and then I show up a few weeks later and we have 20 of them just out of the blue. So there's so many to choose from, but I think you're gonna have a lot of luck finding these on dealer lots, because I think people are gonna be snatching them up and dealers are gonna just keep buying them because, you know, people want them. I think the third thing that I like is kind of a mix between something I like and don't like, and it's the visibility in this vehicle. You have a massive front windshield, really nice visibility out of the windows, and then nice visibility out the back windshield as well. So tons of great visibility. It reminds me almost of like Subaru levels of visibility, which is super nice. You feel like you can see everything. You don't feel like there's a ton of major blind spots, with one small exception, and I'll put that as the first thing in the con column, and that is this really weird little spot right here. It's a little pocket window up top here, and I do not know why it exists. I guess it's because this A-pillar would be huge otherwise and have a really weird little corner. It makes for this really awkward blind spot where it's like, oh, I can almost see, and you have to do this number to see out of it. So just a little bit weird. You really can't see it at all. You can see it on the passenger side from the driver's seat and vice versa. Just weird. A little bit of an awkward pocket window on the A-pillar, so that's not the best. The second thing that is not my favorite is just the interior materials in some places. Like I said earlier on, I really like that they didn't use a ton of gloss black plastic everywhere. I like that you have just this textured gray plastic here. Very nice, much better. I love this little red gradient piece here. I think it's really fun and interesting, and you can do some nice combos with it based on like outside colors and matching it to the inside. Really cool. I like that. You can also get some really nice adrenaline red seats in here. One of the ones we have on the lot had that, but it wasn't cleaned up yet. So once it is, I'll definitely be taking a look at that, because I really love the red interior that you can get. There are some cool elements in here, but overall it just feels a little bit low end. But again, it's a Chevy. It's a, you know, $46,000 SUV. Before the tax credit, after the tax credit, you're under 40,000. So yeah, it is what it is. And the third thing that is not my favorite is just the Google Infotainment System. I think it functions fine for the most part. It's just the look in some situations is not my favorite. It just feels a little bit cluttery in my opinion, but thankfully it has some really nice customization. So you can dig in there, you can move stuff around, you can put the information that you want to see, you can get a cleaner view, you can get a full map view, whatever you want. So the fact that it has nice customization really helps balance out just it not being my favorite look. And of course they took away CarPlay and Android Auto. But now that we're on the highway, we can get a dB test here. It's about 67 dB, 68 dB on the highway. We can turn on our cruise control as well. Or we can turn on lane keep assist, I guess. There we go. And you get some nice green lines there. It doesn't do a whole lot of like centering, but it will like bring you back if you drift too far, as it's just drifting all over the place. So yeah, fun. So the question is, should you get an Equinox EV? $45,000 for this 2RS front wheel drive, a little more for the all-wheel drive. You can go up to the 3RS if you want to for a little bit more. Is it worth it for that price point? And I think it definitely should be in consideration. There's a couple things that I think kind of would hold me back from it, personally speaking, but I think this is going to be the right vehicle for a lot of people. You've got great cargo space. You've got very, very competitive range at 319 for the front wheel drive, 285-ish for the all-wheel drive. You've got a decent sized battery pack, decent charging speeds at 150 kilowatt. You've got some massive displays in here. You've got adaptive cruise control. You've got optional super cruise. I actually took a look at that and compared it to Tesla's autopilot and full self-driving. If you want to watch that video over on my tech channel, I'll have it linked down below. So tons of great technology, really, really attractive design in my opinion. Some really cool seating options, so many different color choices. There is a lot to love about the Equinox EV. I think the only thing that really would hold me back personally is that I think you can get some better EVs overall for the same price tag. And I think the main two would be obviously the Model Y and the Hyundai Ioniq 5. Those are similar in size to the Equinox EV, not exactly the same, but similar. You can get similar range, if not better. You can get faster charging speeds, higher quality materials, better technology. Makes it a little tough, right? Especially because of how much they've slashed the Model Y price prices right now, really hard to beat that. And I think if the Equinox EV were priced just a tad lower, I know you can get some trim levels for cheaper than that. I'm not talking about that. I mean, like overall, the entire top limit was like $5,000 to $6,000 cheaper. I think this would be a definite consideration. I think everyone should jump all over this because the value proposition would be through the roof. But I think at this price point, $44,000 for the 2RS front wheel drive with no Super Cruise, being $44,000 even with the tax credit, it's just a tough overall sell for me when I think there's a couple better options out there. You may not like Tesla, totally fine. You may not like the look of the Ioniq 5, totally fine. Maybe you love GM, totally fine. Maybe you just want something that's easy to go into a dealership and buy, get fixed, all that kind of stuff. Totally fine, totally understandable. Get the Equinox EV, or spend a little bit more money, get the Blazer EV. But I'll say this, I think the Equinox EV is a better value and more fun to drive. Simple as that. The Blazer is a more high quality vehicle, obviously more space, better feature set, better materials, totally fine. Equinox is more fun to drive, at least right now, before we get the SS model. I highly encourage you guys to go test drive an Equinox for yourself and compare it with those other models and really decide what's the best value for you. And while I think the other two options in the Model Y and the Ioniq 5 are better value vehicles, you get more features and better range and battery technology for less or the same amount of money, I think the Equinox is a fantastic option and is definitely worth considering and worth buying for a lot of people. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on the video. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think about the Equinox EV? I'm really interested to hear from you guys. Let's talk about it down there in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be among the first to see every single new video the second I hit publish. We'll see you in the next one.